One of the greatest challenges we have in building a movement of public defenders in the South is that the offices we work with simply aren't able to hire third-year law students. They can't commit to holding open a position when one comes available. From the spring, when students need to know they have a job, until the fall when they become available. The Law School Partnership Project solves this problem. Through the Law School Partnership Project, law schools commit to supporting their graduates for up to a year. And our partner offices promise that in return, by the end of that year, they will move that graduate into a permanent position. So for law schools, by supporting a graduate for up to a year, they can leverage that funding and create a permanent position. For law students, it gives them a vehicle to go to public defender offices that previously were never options for them. And through a partnership with the Department of Justice, we've been able to secure funding to guarantee that every member of the Law School Partnership Project goes through the Gideon's Promise core training program. 3 years of training and support, the kind of training and support that graduates need to be able to succeed in really challenging environments. Not only are graduates given training and support, but they're made part of a community, a committed, passionate community of defenders who support one another, who share a common vision, and who work together to raise the standard of practice in courthouses and jurisdictions all across the region. The young lawyers joining Gideon's Promise are part of a reform effort that will ultimately make sure that the next generation doesn't look back and ask when Gideon's Promise will be fulfilled. How is the Law School Partnership Project different from other fellowships? Well, it's different in that, unlike other fellowships, the Law School Partnership Project leads to a permanent placement. It comes along with 3 years of training and support, and it comes along with membership into a community of amazing advocates. What type of law graduate is right for the Law School Partnership Project? We're not just looking for law students who have decided that they want careers as public defenders. We're looking for law students who really not only want to be public defenders, but want to do this work in really challenging environments. We're looking for students who understand that they won't have all of the resources that they need and that their clients deserve. They won't have all of the support at their fingertips that public defenders should have. But they're going to be in on the ground floor of a movement to change that in places that desperately need reform. We're looking for the kind of law students that really want to be on the front lines and be a part of a movement to make equal justice a reality in America's courtrooms. It's going to require some sacrifice. Being a public defender is hard wherever you practice, but it's especially hard in some of the nation's most broken systems. But through the Law School Partnership Project, every lawyer who joins us will have the training and support that Gideon's Promise provides. Those lawyers will have a community of committed colleagues who are just a phone call or an email away. They will all have mentors who are some of the best current and former public defenders from all over the country. And they'll have the support of an office and leadership in that office that is committed to the kinds of values that are needed to improve indigent defense in America. One of the most common calls I get from young lawyers is a lawyer who calls and says, you know, I feel discouraged. I think I'm going to quit. They say, you know, I've got too many cases. And now that I've gone through Gideon's Promise, I understand what every client deserves. I just can't give them. I can't give each and every client what they deserve. And I always share with them a story about a book I read called Freedom Summer. And this happens to be the 50th anniversary of Freedom Summer, that amazing project in the summer of 1964 where young people came from all over the country to join young civil rights activists in Mississippi to register people to vote, to build freedom schools, to help people pass literacy tests. And I read this book called Freedom Summer, written by Bruce Watson, and he tells the story of Freedom Summer through the eyes of young people who were in Mississippi that summer. It's 40 years later, and they're recalling their experience. And through these interviews, he shares their experiences. And as you read the book, you learn that these young folks came to Mississippi inspired, passionate, thinking they were going to change the world. Their families told them they were crazy. Their friends didn't understand why they were wasting a summer. But to the people who came to Mississippi, they believed they would change the world. And they started knocking on doors. And the doors were slammed in their faces. And one after the other, people would say, listen, I can't be seen talking to you. My life could be in danger. And as you read the book, you learn that the enthusiasm turned to despair. And these young folks started to think, maybe my family was right. Maybe I can't make a difference. Well, Bruce Watson, the author of the book, fast forwards 40 years to an interview with Congressman John Lewis, one of the architects of Freedom Summer. And John Lewis says, you know, if it weren't for Freedom Summer, Barack Obama wouldn't be in the White House. Quite literally, what John Lewis was saying was, those young people changed the world, but sometimes change is so incremental, you don't realize you're engaged in it while you're doing it. Well, I share that with our public defenders because I think what our lawyers go through is they walk into courtrooms every single day and they stand up to judges who simply want them to help process human beings. And they say, Judge, I'm not going to do that today. And frequently at the end of the day, they don't get the tangible result that they wanted. But what this story hopefully reminds them of is that when they are standing up in that courtroom saying, Judge, I am not going to participate in processing people today, and their colleague is doing that in the courtroom next door, and another group of young public defenders are doing that in the next county over, and there's another group doing it in the next state over, that collectively they are slowly but surely raising the standard of representation for poor people, raising expectations about what justice means. And in doing so, they are helping to fulfill Gideon's promise so that 51 years from now, our children won't look back and ask, whatever happened to the promise of Gideon versus Wainwright?